Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Esports Analysis. Today's video is going to be a little bit different than some of those that we've done in the past. I think this is like my 21st episode or so, and this is going to be the second one where we're actually talking about domination. So most of the time there's so much strategy involved in hardpoint that I like to talk about hardpoint, but when Chicago was scrimming Atlanta the other day, they did 4 or 5 rounds of domination. So I figured I would take one of those, and most of the time if we talk about one of those rounds, then the same strategy kind of applies to every domination game. I know the maps are a little bit different, but usually between A and C, there's a good side and a bad side. So you want to try to have the good side and B and not be spawn trapped in the bad side. I know that might be a little bit confusing, but here in just a second, we're going to talk about it in the bottom right-hand corner with the minimap so you can get a little bit better of an idea of how exactly to go about playing these games. So with all of that said, let's go ahead and let's talk about how you win a game of domination on the map Gunrunner. If you look at the minimap in the bottom right hand corner, the best side that you want to have is you want to hold down C and then you want to push up to B. So if you hold down C and B and you have the enemy team spawn trapped in A, normally that's how you end up going about winning a game of domination on this map. So let's talk about the reason why. So what you want to do is, of course, you want to capture your home flag, and then you also want to capture that middle contested flag. And then after you do that, you want to push up a little bit further than that into the choke points where you have pretty strong power positions over the enemy spawn. So if you look at this map, so again, we're looking at the mini map in the bottom right hand corner. If you're looking at the left side of B, there's that back coal area. And in that area, you can head glitch those mine carts and you can get really dominant lines of sight over top of those that might be coming out of A. So if we just think for a second, if we're spawning in A, there are 3 ways that you can get out: the left, the middle, or the right. Well, now the left side, it's really hard to get out of, right? There's a head glitch there, you're kind of trapped a little bit. Let's talk about middle. In that middle hardpoint area, there's that half wall, and that's a really nasty head glitch also. So not only can you not get out to the left, but it's really hard to get out in the middle also because there's that really dominant head glitch. And then last but not least, if you go the right side, that's where woods are at. And if you think about coming out of A and going woods, that's a really strong power position also. You're kind of at an elevated position, right? If you have control over B and you're pushed up into woods, you have an elevated position so you can kind of control those gun battles as they try to come out of A. So you want to try your hardest to spawn camp the enemy team in A, just because once you do that, it's really hard to get out of it. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about here is, let's think about the reverse situation, okay? Let's say you're spawning A and you have control somehow over A and B. So that's exactly what you're seeing on screen right now, is that Chicago has control of A and B, and they're pushed up into the chokes, like Seth right here is in this middle building. So they're pushed up into these chokes and they're kind of holding Atlanta back in C. Now, this is much harder to do. And if you look at the routes coming out of C, look at all the different places that you can escape from. So if you just look at C flag, you can escape through open cargo, right? Those cargo containers that are on the left side. You can escape through showers, so the building that's right to the left where Seth's at right now. You can escape through water, so you can jump over that little half wall, go through the water puddles, that's called water. So those are 3 spots. And then as you go over towards B, there are not only 2 lanes, but you can also go through vents to get to pipes. So as you try to get out of C going towards B, you basically have 6 different routes that you can escape from, whereas if you're spawn trapped in A, there are only 3 of them. So if you have A and B, it's a lot harder to watch all 6 of those routes than it is if you have C and B and to watch only the 3 routes coming out of A. Now, with all of that being said, I do want you to keep in mind that we're watching pro teams here. So Huntsmen went ahead and they spawned at A. So they've just been able to slay out and hold down A and B, but normally when you see this match being played, this is not how this match is going to end up turning out. So just kind of keep that in mind. I know that we kind of talked about, if we're looking on screen right now, Chicago has a 30-point lead, a 25, 26-point lead. So you might be saying, well, I get that that's the best route, but that's not what's happening right now. I get that that's the best strategy, but that's not what's playing out on screen right now. And yes, that's true. but Seth has been going off and Arcity, so both of them end up dropping like 30 kills in this game. They're by far the kill leaders in this game. So even though the strategy is what it is, sometimes you can just slay out a little bit more than your opponent, and if you're able to do that, then you don't really have to worry about the strategy all that much. It is what you would want to do, but again, it's not something you always have to do if you can go ahead and slay out a little bit more than your enemy can. Now, with all of that being said, let's go ahead and let's talk about a different strategy here. So let's say that we're in Atlanta's shoes. So how could Atlanta have broken what they were just being held to in the previous round? Let's say currently we're stuck at C dom. So we can't get out of C. We've tried multiple times. We just can't get out. We're trying to get towards B so we can capture C and B and hold down that A spawn trap, but it's just not happening. So let's think about this. In order to leave C and capture B, you'd have to win essentially 3 sets of gun battles against pros. So if you're in C, you'd have to win gun battles to get out of your spawn, right? Whoever has B, so if your enemy has B, they're going to be pushed up into those choke points and you're not going to be able to get out. So first thing you would have to do is win the gun battles at those choke points so that you can get into B. And then by the time you get into B, you're going to have to win a second gun battle, because then it's going to be a battle for the flag. So not only do you have to win a set of gun fights to get out of your spawn, but you also have to win a set of gun fights over top of B so that you can capture B. And then you'd have to win a third set of gun battles to set up your choke points. So with all of that in mind, we can start to see why sometimes it's so hard to get out of a spawn trap. So what teams would rather do is the strategy of overextending, and that's what you're seeing Seth and the Huntsmen do right now. They were stuck at C, and Atlanta had B and A. So rather than try to fight back towards B, what they're doing is they're trying to push up and they're trying to capture A. If they capture A, then essentially they can control those spawns also. So in the midst of them controlling those spawns, what's going to happen is Atlanta is going to spawn by C. So they no longer have to win 3 sets of gun battles to get to B. Atlanta is spawning out at C. They're going to spawn on the opposite side of the map. So now it's just going to be a race for a battle at B. Whoever wins that battle at B is then going to be able to push up into the choke points and control the spawn traps from there. So overextending, essentially what it does is you don't have to win quite as many series of gun battles. If you're able to capture the other team's home flag, so like right now Seth's at C, if you're able to capture A, that's going to make Atlanta spawn at C, right? Spawns are going to flip, and then once they go ahead and they battle over B, if they're able to win that gun battle, then they can go ahead and push out into those choke points. So that's the idea of overextending. You have to win less gun battles, less team gun fights that way in order to gain map position and control the spawn traps. So with all of that in mind, this is usually the point in the video where I let you guys go ahead and listen in to what's happening. So this game right now, Chicago's kind of stuck back in their spawn. That's how they end up turning around this game and end up securing this victory. Is once you watch these next few minutes or so, it takes a couple minutes. I think it's around like the 2.5 minute mark or so when they actually go ahead and execute it. Right now they have B, but that's not sustainable. They don't end up keeping it. So right around the 2.5 minute mark, I'm pretty sure, they go ahead and they're able to flip. So they're able to capture A, which while Atlanta's capturing C, they're able to push up and capture B, and that's how they end up securing the game. So with that, just kind of watch out for that strategy there. We'll go ahead, we'll get into a listen in, and then I'll check back in with you here in a couple minutes.
Another one boxes.
Good job. Simp is deep left. Simp is deep left.
We're not. I don't think we're
I have no ammo. Simp is deep left.
Bullshit.
I have Colt. You guys should come to B now. Yeah, I'm
I
coming
have
B.
your help. I have your help.
We have pipes.
I'm cutting through bathroom. Green ramp.
Fuck.
Green ramp dead. Another one half ball. Oh my.
You guys want to go?
Two on B.
Go A on spawn. Go A on spawn.
Yeah, they got me. They team kill. There's only one on it.
He's hurt. He's dead.
There's one more close.
I'm coming bathroom to see it.
Close.
I'm to it. They're spawning close.
Let's go A.
Close to it.
Let's go A. Let's go A.
Do not run back to B. Just play slow. Play slow. Whoever's over by.
I got one more. Mid track. Sim.
One way third.
Mid track Sim.
Back in box.
One's a one.
Stop, dude. Stelling's back in box.
Two bathrooms.
One's a green too. One's a green too. They're gonna flood green again.
Yeah, one's gonna be like water event or something, dude.
One's offside here. One's offside here. You tuck right.
And they're mid truck selling them. They're mid truck selling them.
Cargo containers.
He's tucked right. Got him.
Bathroom.
Bathroom.
In bathroom.
Bathroom. Okay. Dude, you have
I'll be
too
down
much
here.
confidence.
Got him.
I'll be green too.
Going green.
I think green.
Going deep oil.
Water dead.
Three.
Oh, I
Alright.
should smoked in boxes, and then I'm on A.
Flash. I didn't
I'm
flash.
the guy on box.
I'm
B,
trying to
guys.
block spawns. I'm trying to block spawns right now.
Go right to A. if we
Nope.
can.
On the
Oh,
point, on
back
the
A.
point.
He's in A. He's in back
pipe.
mid. There's two of
Yeah,
them. I believe. He
go
went
back
in
fast.
Good job, good job.
More.
Oh, my bad.
Unfortunate.
Hold on, front door.
I
Alright,
spawned
I'll
deep
pull
C.
it.
I think they're spawning C now. I think they're spawning
I
C
think they're
now.
spawning on it.
No. I spawned left side C. Like deep
Yeah,
left
they're
side.
spawning C. Let's go for B. They're spawning C.
Yeah,
They're
call
spawning
me.
C right now.
One here.
Another
They smoked out C.
one B.
God,
One
got
B.
him.
On the heady, on the heady.
Nice,
Nice.
nice,
Three.
nice, nice.
I
Okay,
got two on
pipe.
C.
Pipe.
Nice,
Pipe.
good
Pipe.
shit out.
Pipe's weak. Pipe's weak.
I'm flooding B. I'm flooding B.
It's a BZ. Or sorry, not BZ.
Simp,
Simp.
simp,
Simp.
simp.
Sorry.
Me, lockers on me too, guys. Lockers to B. Tell him three lockers. One more
Job.
pipe,
No.
simp,
Simp. Simp is pipe still.
Yes,
Simp
it's
is pipe still.
Locker's dead.
Pipe.
Pipe's dead, pipe's dead.
Okay,
Pipe.
let's
Grab
see.
time, grab
Hoppy.
time.
I got it.
One of the echoes, one of the echoes.
Look for me.
Job,
I'm coming to help you, Alec.
Yo, how did I just get
Got
killed
him.
there? What the
They're on A,
fuck?
they're on A,
He's
they're on
taking
A.
lockers.
Lockers weak.
He's on
Lockers
an
weak.
eight.
Got me, bro.
Mid tracks.
Heady.
Mid tracks.
I
Mid
spawned
tracks.
C, guys, I spawned
Got
C.
him.
They're
Another one
gonna
there.
spawn
Mid
A.
tracks
Another
him.
one there.
What? What is
C,
that?
C still.
Wait, we win with one cap.
Sim's on C on me.
We're not.
That's my right. He's
C.
tracked. I think he's tracked behind you.
He is.
I got him. Actually,
Dead.
I'll see if
Probably
I-
bathroom.
They're gonna push it.
I want
Was
to
it
see.
left?
Bathroom.
Great.
Yep. One more.
I spawned A. I spawned A.
Got him. I got him.
You gotta cap
One
that.
right side B. Right side B.
We win with one. We win with one.
Major maniac water. Major maniac water.
I'm playing C. I'm playing C.
On C.
Got me at A.
Bathroom.
Three.
One
Bathroom.
bathroom, Seth. One bathroom.
Siri said that's not nice. I just lost full.
I'm at B right now, guys.
Smoked
Pipe,
out A
pipe,
for
pipe.
you.
I was pushing on B.
Nothing came bathroom, bro.
On C. Bumped it.
One. He just shot me in the back.
All right, guys. So with that, the only way that Atlanta could possibly come back and win is if they went ahead and they had a triple cap over these last 12 seconds or so. But that's not going to happen. So Chicago still holds 2 of these flags. So as these last 6 seconds go ahead and run off the clock, that is going to be all she wrote. So with another episode of this, thank you guys so much for checking in. If you're new around here, please hit that subscribe button. My channel's been growing like crazy, and I'm super thankful for all of it. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. Don't leave without leaving a like. I can't wait for the CDL content to come out. We're about 3.5 weeks or so away from that, so make sure you stay tuned for that. And with that, I'll go ahead and I will catch you guys in the next one. Have a good rest of your day.